How we make money inside of our business is number one is we sell one to many versus one to one. So we determine our product and then we go one to many. So like when I travel now, there has to be great intention and opportunity, multiple opportunities lined up to make it worth my time. But back then, yes, I would travel to any city, go to any event, and the opportunity was in the show up. That was my model. The opportunities in the show up. There's always been something positive, a new relationship, a new partnership, a new customer, a new idea. That's always been something positive. So go get what's yours, man. Go get.
All right, we have another rock star on the podcast for Profit Engines. Andy Adate is here, and he is another one of these upcoming SaaSpreneurs that has made the radar screen and basically bleeping. Everybody wants to know what the secret is. Andy, introduce yourself and tell us how you make money.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for calling me a rock star, man, because you're the one with the guitars and the amps, man. So how we make money inside of our business is number one is we sell one to many versus one to one. So we determine our product and then we go one to many. And then we have a great affiliate program where we market to affiliates. We have just under 100 affiliates inside of our business that's helping us promote these different products. So those affiliates are like speakers, authors, coaches who work with businesses, and then we help them with like snapshots and things of that nature to help them run their business.
Now, I've watched your growth with webinar strategies to build equity into the market, and I understand the model that you've been doing. It's not that it's not common, but it is sort of unique that you grew very quickly. And one of the things I've noticed with what you've been able to do is your, I guess, ability to capture and transfer and get people into production really quickly has been sort of unique to most people that I speak with, because they don't usually get 300 accounts in the short span of time. Maybe give us a little history about that, sort of uptick about how you were able to quickly get these people into processing. And I know it's not an overnight success, nothing is, but maybe that piece that might be interesting to most folks who would be listening.
Well, first and foremost, I have an interesting background. So I was the top affiliate for another company. So here's one of the awards that they sent out to me, and I helped them get hundreds of customers before I joined High Level. And the way that I got them customers is through the webinar game. So I was hosting webinars for I was hosting in-person seminars for motivational speakers and people who host these business gurus, and I would help them fill up their seminars. And then I transitioned during the pandemic to do something similar in that same model, but online. So one of our sponsors was a CRM company called Keep in my in-person seminar world. And then when I transitioned, I had a lot of agreements already set with speakers, and I had a 13 city tour that I had set up prior to the pandemic, and I had a lot of responsibilities and contracts to fulfill on. So rather than doing it in person, I did it online, and I realized that was called a webinar, an online seminar. It's called a webinar. And I was helping a company called Keep to bring in their customers, and we brought them hundreds of customers. Now, granted, the way that they did it was different. I would fill up the room. They would have someone come in and speak. What I did differently for my SaaS is I became the speaker for my SaaS, but doing the same business model.
Right. Now, you're a big follower of Les Brown, and his model has been something that I've been listening to for a very long time. One of my favorite authors, speakers, general motivational dude. Is that part of the reason how you got started with some of this? Because I know that was one of the people that's in your sort of background that I think you've mentioned a few times on some of your recent interviews.
He got me started because I went to go sell tickets. Well, I joined his online course, and that's what's really introduced me to the online world and the course world and so forth. And so I joined his online course to become a motivational speaker with the preface that being a motivational speaker is that's where you get the money for. That's where you get the money. Right. And I was 21 at the time, I was 21 at the time, 2021. and I joined his course, and I'm like, I'm going to go become a motivational speaker, and I'm going to make the millions that they talk about from speaking. And all I got to do is empower people and tell people to feel good, and then I'll make money. That's how it works. So I joined his course, and when I joined this course, they had mentioned like you can call businesses and charge them a fee to speak to their team, and they'll pay you. So I remember I called out these businesses, and I'm like, "Hey, my name is Adate. I'm a certified motivational speaker. I would like to come do a presentation for your audience, for your group, for your sales team, and I'm only going to charge $20,000." They got a 20-year-old on the phone with like, "What? Oh no!" And then so I would keep on calling all these different businesses to the point where I'm like, okay, look, I got you. I'm gonna give you a deal, $5,000. Even $5,000, man. Would you spend $5,000 to hear a 20-year-old come and speak and motivate your team? You know, at the time, I was optimistic, and so I had to really sit down and understand like how are people making money? What are people doing to make money? And what I realized is that there's a couple ways that you can learn. Number one is you can pay for it. Number two, you can go ahead and serve someone else. So I served a lot of these speakers, and I said, hey, I'll go and sell for you to fill up the audience. Just teach me the back end. Teach me how in the world does this make income?
Right.
One of the speakers that I had, which was supporting and very pivotal in my journey, who invested in me early on, was Laura Langmeyer. If you know her, she's one of the authors in the movie The Secret. She's written so many books. She's had a TV show, and I would fill up seminars, and she would go ahead and speak at these seminars, and I would help her get customers. She would pay me on the back end. So we had a relationship there. Then I just started asking questions like, take me through the more of the back end piece, like the journey of a customer coming into the seminar. They're in front of you, and you're selling like $100 product. There's no way you're flying out here, paying all this money, paying for a team, flying private, all of this for $100 product. And there has to be something on the back end. And that's when she broke down and went deeper into the back end. And I did the same thing with other speakers, and I asked them, give me more details about the back end. Les Brown was there, Grant Cardone for his 10X Growth Con. All these speakers who are speaking, I started to understand the back end, and I realized I need to figure out what my own back end was. My first back end was other people's products, where I was an affiliate for other people's products. I would just sell other people's products. My second bigger back end was my own online courses. And my third was when I went all in on the SaaS and high level.
How long ago was it that you went in all the way with getting high level implemented? I know it seems like to you probably recent, right, to some degree compared to your history of all the things that you've just talked about.
It feels like it's ages, but I went all in 2022. I started my discovery of high level. So I purchased high level in 2022, and then I started the YouTube University, like really going deep into YouTube University. I remember I would drive and I would listen to Paulson, I would listen to Chase, I would listen to Sean, I would listen to all the representatives that are now higher up in the company. And then 2023 is when I said, hey, I'm going to go all in on this thing and figure out this MRR thing and SaaS thing. And I don't really have another option.
So that's when you started doing the webinars for your existing maybe world that you were involved in, from a perspective of like maybe a list of clients that you would work with. You'd also, maybe worked with BNIs, or again, I know you sort of,
yeah.
You came through it with, I think, a lot of different perspectives that, were sort of, again, bull in a china shop. You just kind of just pushed your way around and figured it out, right? It's very interesting because a lot of people put a lot of effort to try and figure out a niche and then spend time in that niche and then do this, where I think you just said, look, I'm going to help you make money, and here's how I'm going to do it. Is that sort of a short version of what you were doing?
No, a previous software company, Keep,
right.
So there was a couple things that happened. So during that time with Keep, I was helping them sell their SaaS units, and then they would pay me a commission, right? And then during that time, now I worked with Keep from 2018 to 2023. So 5 years I've been with Keep. So I had a great relationship. I still have a great relationship with Keep. When Keep sold to Thrive, I texted the CEO, Clayt, and I said, hey, man, and I talked to him about his journey and what the next journey for Keep is going to be. So I have a great relationship with Keep to the point where I can ask the CEO of a company that has 100,000 customers and so forth. Now, while I was working with Keep and they were selling on my webinars that I hosted for them, we ended up getting a bunch of sales, and they had a third-party company that would go ahead and fulfill on onboardings.
Right.
And there was a time that the third-party onboardings became overwhelmed with the amount of customers that I was bringing to them.
Right.
And then so I went to Keep and I said, hey, look, we do funnels, we do marketing agency services. Could we just do onboarding for our customers that we're bringing in? And they said, well, we don't see why not. And then they put us through the training of how to onboard customers at that scale.
Right.
So my wife ran operations for that company and for that division of our company. And then we hired onboarding specialists inside of our company to onboard Keep customers into Keep. And they were our customers. So Andy would do a webinar. Andy would get 23 SaaS sales for Keep, not from us, for Keep. And then we would then do the onboardings, and then we would upsell additional services, logos, funnels, designs, emails, so on and so forth.
Right.
So we did that for a long period of time. One day I went to Traffic and Conversions Summit, and I heard Sean speaking. That's the first time. Now, mind you, my marketing agency was building something in somebody's Go High Level. I didn't know what Go High Level was. I just knew the funnel builder looked like ClickFunnels.
Right.
And I hear Sean speaking about the SaaS opportunity, and then he brought up Dar Holdsworth on screen, and talked about his Dar's journey. And I said, hold on, are you saying that I can be instead of being the affiliate, which is all that I ever knew, I could do the same process and keep all the reoccurring? And then he's like, yes. And I was like, okay, I got to ask you some more questions. And his presentation was over. I went to his booth. I saw a bunch of the team members, and I said, can you give me a demonstration? Ian, I think it's Eisenhower, who runs High Level's tech support channel, he gave me the demonstration. And I asked him 161 questions before I made a commitment, and I made the investment. And that's what started my journey, where I said, you know what? I went to my wife. I said, babe, we may be able to do our own thing rather than just be an affiliate. Now, the affiliate lifestyle is good money, but it's not recurring money.
Correct.
You know, we got 6 figures up front, but like it's not recurring money on the back end, right? And I said, I would like to have that reoccurring at some point. Let's go figure that out. And that's what started our journey. But the thing is, it is a different mindset, because even from Keep would invest up front for the customer journey.
Correct.
And because of that, I had to shift my mindset to how do I become the one to invest up front to our customers to give them success in the beginning. So that way we have long-term subscription. And I think that's been my journey. That's been the bulk of my journey, is really changing that mindset.
Yeah, and I guess what I was asking more likely, and I understand when you pivoted, and that's interesting, was about how you're developing your customer base. And I know that I've heard different variations of a story or a theme here that, again, it's not really a niche-based scenario. I think you've been really good at doing things to help people believe in themselves as business owners and get the entrepreneurs to move forward. Could you maybe flesh that out for us a little bit?
Yeah. So heavily in the beginning, we used to run a system. We market systems to our customers. So for example, one of our systems was AAD method was awareness, automation, and delegation. So I would get on a webinar and I would talk about get awareness from social media, then automate it using High Level, my version of High Level, and then delegate to a virtual assistant. So around that time, I was running a virtual assistant agency where the virtual assistant will help with fulfillment on the SaaS.
Sure.
And then I would teach the business owner how to get awareness on social media, and then how the automations will help generate leads inside of the software. We then transitioned from AAD to TAD, which is traffic automation and delegation, which is now essentially between you and I, it's how to run Facebook ads to generate traffic. Correct. And then how the lead comes into the CRM, and then how a virtual assistant can then delegate it. And then now we just focus on automation and delegation. We don't focus on the traffic source. We focus on automation and delegation, which automation is going to be the CRM to generate leads via chat automation, And then the delegation part, instead of it being a virtual assistant, we'll talk about the voice AI assistant.
Terrific. And this is all amazing. Now, I realized that part of your history was going to different cities and creating different networking arrangements to get sort of what I would consider regionally based thresholds. Are you still doing stuff like that, or was that just something in the past, or are you just sort of now doing a mass marketing / email, get people on a webinar and then put them into these different, acronymic type of programs?
When I was single, I would hop on any plane to go to any city. Today, I'm married, and I make an effort that when I do travel, the travel that I make has a bigger impact than I did years ago. So, like when I travel now, there has to be great intention and multiple opportunities lined up to make it worth my time. But back then, yes, I would travel to any city, go to any event, and the opportunity was in the show up. That was my model. The opportunities in the show up. I would go to eventbrite.com. I would fill up every single calendar that I can find, just add to the calendar. BNI meetings. You mentioned BNI. Like I met the founder of BNI in Dallas, Texas. Like that was one of the events that I went to. So I would go to BNI. I would go to every Chamber of Commerce, every Eventbrite meeting, every business networking meeting to go show up. And then what I would do is I would generate leads. So here, and I still today habitually, I'm talking about I have dozens of these habitually. I still travel with these, and this is now a habit from back then where I would have people's name, email, and phone number, and then I would capture their name, email, phone number, and then I would put them into our funnel to become a customer. And I still do that today. Yes.
I think this is the quintessential answer to everyone's question. And I will tell you that this has come up so many times with lots of conversations that I have, which is, how did you get successful? Well, you were successful because you actually engineered it from the beginning of the stages of walking in and showing up. When I was on stage in October at the high level event, one of these questions came up, which is you just explained exactly what it was. And they were asking the question. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the frame of the question was, because I've already been through and sold an agency and, made the Inc. 5000 and did all the stuff that kind of, and the question was, well, how do you get to that point and how do you get started? Now, my answer was relatively interesting because I hired prisoners from a local penitentiary that were on work release to make phone calls for me. And people thought that was hilarious. However, I said, that's not the only thing I did. I did what you did, which is I went to BNI meetings. I went to locations. I went to regional events. I showed up and I actually did the work to get started. And actually that transfer of knowledge base to be face-to-face with lots of clients is something that a lot of the people today don't do because they hide behind email, they hide behind text messaging, and they hide behind the fact that they don't have to actually go and press the flesh, as they might say, right? So I think that those criteria of becoming what you've became now is because of those initial abilities to not be afraid to be in front of people at any point in time. And now it takes a certain type of personality. So I'm not saying that, you're an enigma to some degree, but it does take someone who's outward thinking. And I think this is a really important thing for people who might be watching this as a takeaway, which is that the business is there. It will happen, but you actually have to force it to happen. Certainly you can run emails and chase people down through text and all the rest of the stuff. Yes, it does happen. But I think the best lesson is actually becoming a person of ability to be physically in front of somebody and start to have conversations and take their phone number and their name down right there.
I'll show you something, Matt. So my wife said, "Hey, you go to these events so much," and you might be able to hear me for the viewers, but I am just off camera grabbing something real quick. This here, what I'm about to show you, is some of the events that I shown up just last year. This is just last year's events, and we're in February, so this is 1 year of events of me going to. And my wife last year said, "Hey, babe, like you go to so many events, why don't you just take the tags and these are the only ones these are the events that only gave me tags. There's events that you write your name down, and I decided to show up as much as possible because every time that I realize that I've gone to an event, there's always been something positive, a new relationship, a new partnership, a new customer, a new idea. There's always been something positive. So go get what you are, go get what you go get what's yours, man. Go get what's yours. Just this week, although I live in Las Vegas, I couldn't go to the Funnel Hacking Live every single day. But I got a ticket. I went to the last day, and it was after lunch. So I only spent, out of the 4 or 5 days that they had, I only spent 4 hours at the event, and out of that, I got 4 podcast recording sessions the next day, and I recorded 4 sessions the next day. And the opportunities were there because I decided to show up, even if I couldn't do the whole thing. I did as much as I possibly could have, and made it work. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey man, how is Matt creating so much success? How's Andy creating so much success? It comes down to what you just said, Matt. Just show up. That's where the opportunities are.
Right. And so we've got a couple minutes left. And I know that you've got some leave offs here for people. So if they're looking to grow their business or get active, are there things in your world, whether it's community, courses, or at least maybe even accessing you personally? Obviously, you've got some sort of regiment of things that you probably recommend if people are interested in learning more about you and your special sauce. I mean, there's so many Les Brown isms I could say right now, but I'll save them for another day. But what would you recommend for people if they're looking to follow you, become aware of maybe more of the things that you would recommend? Because you've historically now, for the last couple of months, starting to really blow up. To me, you are starting to become visible. And again, because we all know each other in the high world / digital marketing world, a lot of the people who are our peers and our friends and luminaries, we all kind of now find the people we really like, and you've made it to the top of everybody's list now. And so I really, really, really am proud of what you've done, and extremely excited to see where you're going to end up, and in your journey of continuing to be who you are, which is a real interesting, as I said rock star. I think you are to you may think it's not that of an important term, but I don't use it very often, but you're definitely in that group, because you're actually making things happen.
Well, I mean, that means a lot if it coming from you, Matt. Chase, I learned your story through Chase Buckner, when he shared what you did with your agency and your transition. And even myself, like, I was sitting in that audience floor, like, okay, that's what's possible. Mind you, I was running an agency, doing high ticket services, and I had a girl who I was dating, which is now my wife, but I had a girl who I was dating. I'm like, how am I going to be a husband and doing all these high ticket services and not have the business model that allows me to grow and scale? And I'm hearing people like your story, and it was third party at this point. It wasn't you speaking on stage; it was Chase speaking on your behalf. And to learn about that and what you did with your agency and your transition, I'm like, hey, I want to create that. And then to a couple of years later to hear it from you, man, that means a lot.
Cool. Where should people find you, and what should be the next course of action if they want to get engaged with you, your world, or any of the things that you would recommend for next steps?
Yeah, I think if you're listening to high level, if you're in the high level world and you're wanting to grow and you wanting to start scaling your business, I think the first step to understand is, what is your journey from 0 to 100, or wherever you're currently at, to your first 100. So I'll give you a tool. If you go to GHL Engine, GHL for Go High Level, GHL Engine /Blueprint MC /Blueprint MC. MC stands for Matt Coffee. Blueprint MC. I'll give you the blueprint that I did, that we implemented to get our first 100 subscribers. If that's going to be valuable to you, go to ghlengine.com /Blueprint MC. And then I'll give you a full-on training that you can take, and it's completely for free, on if I had to start all over again, how I would go from 0 to my first 100 customers.
That's wonderful. And again, all this stuff will be linked in this video. So if you're looking for that and you want to continue the path along with Andy, and thank you for being a guest today. And we will catch up to you at some point during, I would think, after the next event at High Level, which I want to try and interview everybody who I've interviewed this year so far. All right, buddy. Have fun, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Matt, thank you so much for having me be here with you.
Awesome, man. Thank you.